market for a new or used vehicle, check out TrueInvoice.com. They're taking the guesswork out of buying the vehicle. TrueInvoice.com. The road to become a wide receiver in the NFL was paved through Tennessee, especially during the 90s. On the phone right now is one of them, USA Today High School All-American 1993, First Team All-Sec 97, All-American 97, two-time Super Bowl champ, one with the Broncos. And after the NFL, he went on to become a superstar within the arena of football with the Las Vegas Gladiators, held the AFL record for 154 receptions, and racked up over 1,700 yards with 46 touchdowns, and became the AFL's Offensive Player of the Year in 2004. It's Vols great, number 12, Marcus Nash. How are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great.
That was a lot. It took me about 5 minutes to get through all those accolades.
Well, I'm old, man. When you do that kind of thing, that kind of tells you how old you get.
You're not old, man. Come on. I see pictures of you, man. It looks like you can catch the field tomorrow if you really, really wanted to. You know, I wanted to ask you, too, because I work with Drew Pearson. I worked with a lot of Michael Irvin. And, we go on the sidelines, man. And Drew, at 67 years old, the twinkle in his eye would just be there, man. He'd be just get so excited just being on that field. And he told me one day, he said, man, I want to play. Is there ever a time when you say, I don't want to really play anymore?
Mentally, it's always there. Physically, you'd be like, man, you get out there, you might run, because I do strength and conditioning, and I coach receivers and train receivers and other people. And I'll get out there and I'll run a couple of routes for them just to kind of demonstrate and what I want from them. But it hurts, you know what I mean. And then mentally you can do it, but when you start moving around and making those movements again, then you remember real quick, like, hey man, I'm old.
Hey man, your mind's just like, hey man, what are you doing? Stop. Right on, man. Where did you? Of course, you watched the Super Bowl. Did you go, or did you watch it from home?
No, I just watched it from home. The Super Bowl it's a fantastic event all week long. It's crazy. It's great, but watching it at home takes away all the trouble and the parking and the travel and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, right on, man. Yeah, I was there, and I watched a piece of the game, but it was just so havoc. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And
right.
I got out of there that late that night and came back to Dallas. I think Tennessee was just dominant in those days. But, after being stood up at the line of scrimmage, Peyton was trying to do a quarterback sneak. It looks like a quarterback sneak.
Right.
And he sprints and takes off from the pressure, and you guys out there can see that. And I'm thinking he's going to run out of bounds. But then he finds you because you're running back and forth. Who was defending you? I forget who was defending you.
I can't even really remember. Like, most of the time, Champ was on me the majority of the time. But I guess in that goal line situation, like it was they trying to get all the big guys in there, and I can't remember which guy it was, but that play was crazy because nobody knew anything. Like, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be a quarterback sneak. It was it wasn't no snap. It wasn't anything. And all of a sudden I looked around and I saw him rolling out, and I'm 9 times out of 10, Peyton's gonna throw the ball. Like, even to this day, like he's gonna if there's a chance where he's gonna throw the ball in the end zone, he's gonna throw the ball in the end zone. So I just try to stay alive and get free in the end zone, and fortunately we were able to do that.
Yeah, you did it, man. That was a great smart move on you. You did the NFL play. You didn't have to have 2 feet on the ground, but you kept both feet. Did they teach you that just from college, man?
It's just something that you don't consciously try to do, but some people do it, some people don't. Like, I've always tried to get both feet in, no matter what. I was never really the 1 foot guy because I had always had that mentality where I had to get both feet in, ever since high school. So it's just something that I always did.
Manning completed 31 of 41 passes for 371 yards. You can see there that he's already starting to become that guy. Did you see it working with him? How was it? Just being around him, man.
Well, it all starts with every team that he's on and every situation. It starts in the offseason, which he puts all of his work in. And after our freshman year, the summer of our sophomore year, we all went to work hard, like hard inside the during the off season, and so that's when we all kind of started to get stronger. We started to get faster. You know, we put the work in. We threw every single day. You know, all the juniors the year before were seniors this year, and they saw all of us come through. You know, me, Andy. They saw all of us come up and start getting better and better, and really kind of take over that whole, you know, the whole team as far as offensively. And they saw us putting that work in, and that's where all the work comes from. And that's what we did from day one. Once he got on campus, you know, he wanted to throw, and during the off season, he wanted to throw, and when he was in town, he wanted to throw, and that's what we did.
What would he do, Marcus? Would he call you and say, "Hey, I'm out here at the stadium. Meet me out here at 2:00"?
Well, he absolutely every week, every day. Like, okay, we're during the weight room. Like, hey, we're throwing at this time. We're throwing tomorrow at this time. We're throwing Thursday at this time, and you know, we're throwing Friday at this time. So, and then he would keep us, you know, a little bit later, kind of perfecting, you know, the throws, and he understood that early. After his freshman year, he understood that immediately. And even during our freshman year after practice, we threw every day after practice. Every single practice after practice, we threw every single day. It might have been 15 or 20 minutes, but the throws he didn't feel comfortable with, we threw those things after practice. Right
on, yeah. So preparation, a lot of hard work. Everybody knows academically and that's why I brought that 96 season up, because 97 almost didn't happen, did it?
Right. But I think, you know, it's funny because we both were kind of going through the same interview process.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
I was, you know, thinking about coming out early my junior year, and so I was doing the researching, and you know, I was explaining to him, and I talked to his dad, and you know, so he never really, and I guess that's where he was. He never really gave away what he was going to do, but you know, there was always an understanding around his camp what we were going to do, and we were going through the same process, and I was telling him, he was telling me, and we were going through some pros and cons about, you know, if we were to stay and all that kind of stuff. And it was only really one conversation that we had about it. But you know, it was just one of those things where in my heart, I knew he was going to stay. Right. And after talking to him a little bit, and I think it was one of those things where I think I told him first what I was going to do. So, and then I had a pretty good idea what he was going to do after.
Yeah, right on. And a good thing that you guys did stick around, because it led us up to the SEC championship game. The first trip to Atlanta for the SEC championship game, and after your opening drive, you guys kind of dug yourself in a hole. Auburn scored like 20 straight points, led by quarterback Mike Bobo. Bobo, did I pronounce that right?
Bobo, yeah.
which, by the way, he's out there by you, man. He's a current head coach for Colorado State.
No, absolutely, yeah. He actually, Terry Fair is out there doing the defensive, the backs coach out there with him too. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. You guys all wound up in the West Coast there. Well, Auburn scored 20 straight points, and at the time, now you guys cut the lead down to 2017 early in the third quarter, and you can't see what we're watching right now, but we're watching the game right now. And the Tigers responded with a touchdown, and then Tennessee got the ball back, okay, but only to turn it over. Do you remember what was going on right before this big play?
You know, what I remember is it being one of those things where it's no possible way. Because I think we turned the ball over 9 times, 8 or 9 times.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We've never, literally, never. I almost never fumble. I can't remember a time in college where I fumbled, but I fumbled that game, and there were fumbles of the running backs, fumbles by the receivers. I mean, it was one of those games where it was like, man, how on earth, what's going on here? But our whole mentality, defensively and offensively, I don't think we were ever really worried. We knew that if we just can put some things together, as far as offensively, all we had to do was just take care of the ball, put some things together, and then get in the end zone a few times, and our defense had to get a stop. But yeah, we were never really that worried. It was just one of those things where we just had to keep plugging away, and all we needed to do was put together a couple of drives, put together a couple of scores, and we knew we were going to be all right.
Yeah, and if you're watching it now, you can see Marcus just, it looked like he was just, I don't know what down that was, but it looked like he dropped back and just kind of threw it to you, and you took off on a sprint, man, a 73-yard catch and run that finally gave the Vols the lead back, and then Auburn, it finally started turning the ball over, I think once or twice, and then, and Lewis ran out the clock, and Tennessee survived. The whole debacle, because you guys did have the drop sheet, and I remember that game, man. I was thinking to myself, there's no way they're coming. You don't lose the ball you don't turn the ball over 2 or 3 times in a game like that and come out the winner usually.
Exactly. We had the play was, I think it was originally like a run play. And so, but anytime we see an opportunity to throw like a quick game or a hitch out there, we're gonna do them. Like that's just what we did. And so the guy was off. It was straight man. They loaded up the box, and we saw something out there. He called. He checked out to our quick game, and the guy. I've always wanted to make the first guy miss, and I knew as long as you make that first guy miss, especially in that situation, then it's a big play can happen, and that's kind of what happened.
You broke 2 tackles. It looks like you broke 2 tackles there, and you took off, man. You were almost high stepping it in there. So you guys won, and then you took off and you went to Denver, man. So you're at the Broncos. You get there, and your quarterback's John Elway. So what was it like working around the great John Elway, man?
Well, I'll tell you what. Like as far as my entire career, from college to pro to even to arena, I've been blessed with some pretty much Hall of Fame quarterbacks. My quarterback in arena was probably the best quarterback that there's ever been in arena football, as far as I'm concerned. And obviously it's John Elway and Peyton Manning. I've been blessed with some really, really, really good quarterbacks. But, John Elway was, growing up in Oklahoma and going to school in Tennessee, we don't really hear too much from the West Coast. So I knew who John Elway was, but, it was different than J.D. White. It was different than all the other Dan Marinos. Those are the people that I actually saw.
Right.
Like, and Randall Cunningham and and all those kind of guys. So John Elway, once I got there, like I'm okay, John Elway, but I didn't really understood how great he actually was. Now, I've always watched the games, but it was just something that I love running backs and receivers and that kind of thing. And so playing with John Elway was just one of those things where. He was at the end of his career. He had just won Super Bowl the year before, and everybody was it was about John. It was about John Elway, and it was about keeping him healthy, and it was about backing him up. And we weren't the best defense, and we weren't the best offense, but we did great things. Like we didn't have the Denver defense now or the Seattle defense now. We didn't have the New England Patriots offense when they wanted, but we had a great team. We had a great team and a great scheme, and we found ways to win, and we did things right. And so, John Elway that's pretty much the staple of his career is his talent. He made everybody else better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a privilege and honor to play, up underneath him and being able to experience his last year with him.
Yeah, and then it's crazy that now here you are, you're in Vegas and you're done. Well, I forgot to mention you did go to that other team. I don't like too much. We won't mention any names, but the Ravens. and you picked up the ring there, and then you went to arena and just had you had a great career. How was did he talk to you about when he left the Colts? Did you guys talk during that time?
No, there was a time where, I didn't really talk to him hardly ever. He's just, he'd had around. Even and I've kept in contact with it, whether it's a text or an email or whatever that it is. His group and his organization that protects him is it's almost impenetrable. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard. Even with his teammates and friends and everything, it's hard. And in that point in time, I text them and congratulate them on Denver and look and offer them the good luck and the graces and everything. And he was like he appreciated it, and it was one of those things where he was just in transition and in trying to figure out this next step in his career. And so it was a tough time for him. And from what I understand, like, he loves Indianapolis, loves it. Like, you know what I mean? And he loves those college towns. Like, that's why I picked Denver. That's why I picked Indy. And I think for maybe if there would have been a team out there, and I think he wanted to retire, but if there was an opportunity better for him, I think he would have probably came back for one more year in a city that best fits him, in a team that best fits him. But there wasn't a thing where all of the pieces fit. Like, you know what I mean? And I honestly still think he believes he could have played this year. But it's just one of those things where all the pieces involved.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I got that too, and I'm gonna tell you, listen, I'm a man, and I choked up when he choked up, dude, I choked up, but I really had a sense that he wanted to keep playing, right?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And I guess that's what you were talking about earlier. Like, your mind tells you, let's go, and then your body just says, like, listen, man, whoa, hey, time out.
Exactly.
So I think he did the right thing. What do you think?
I think he did the right thing.
Yeah.
For his family. I think he did the right thing for his body. And I think overall he'll still have that desire and that want to play, but gradually it'll go away and it'll subside, and he'll be comfortable with his life, and not that he's not already comfortable with his life, but yeah, man, that guy, he's still, I guarantee you, he won't be able to turn that off at all.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think he's going to do, Marcus? Just guessing.
I think he's just going to take some time with his family. And, I think he'll do some work here and there. I don't think he'll coach. Everybody's wanting him to coach. I don't think he'll coach. I think he'll his camps that he does in New Orleans, I think he enjoys those. I think he enjoys teaching. But as far as coaching, and people get there's a difference between the two. I think he'll still have, some involvement with, his camps or establishing, a quarterback, like kind of what Groom does, because there's a lot of those things out there. I don't think he'll stay still because he knows so many different offenses, and that'll allow him to keep his brain involved in the game, like whether it's teaching that system to coaches, whether it's whatever that is. I think that's what he should do. I honestly think that's what he should do. And the support that he would get, and it keeps you from like not having to coach,
right?
It allows you to teach your system and do what he loves to do and film study and teach coaches how to run your system. I think that's what he should do.
Well, it sounds what you're describing there. You're describing a team owner or general manager.
Yeah, well, that could be. I honestly think that would be. He would thrive and still be involved with that kind of thing. Because I honestly, he doesn't like being out there like that. But hey, that could be something.
Well, I don't think he would ever be a Jerry Jones. No offense, no offense, Jerry. I'm in Dallas, but I don't think it'd be a Jerry Jones. But I think that guy. I think Peyton would be an awesome general manager or a team owner. Okay, listen, whatever that guy does, he's going to do it great. we talked about it a little bit off the record, and we're not going to go into details, but I don't think any of this gray cloud, I wouldn't even call it a black cloud, I wouldn't call it a gray cloud. All this BS that's been following him around for the last 6 months, I don't think that's going to have any effect on his post career. Nor do I think he's going to be a Brett Favre. I think he's going to walk right into first ballot Hall of Famer, walk right into the Hall of Fame. What do you think?
Oh, no question about it. I totally agree with you. And all this going on, it's just like you said, the great cloud. It'll wash it. It'll clear away. It'll wash itself away, and everything will be fine. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, right on, bro. So I got a shout out to my friend Nico Santucci. He's the owner of Capo Speakeasy right there in Vegas, right where Marcus is at. Marcus, have you ever been to Capo's?
You know what? I've seen it around. I have never been there.
I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to hook you up with my buddy Nico. You go over there, have a steak. Try the meatballs. They're to die for. They're handmade. The meatballs, and if you're watching it right now on B-roll, we can see the meatballs. You can't. But if you're out there, check them out. But the meatballs are Al Capone's recipe that Nico, secured from the family, went in partnerships with them and makes the sauces and everything. It's incredible. So shout out to him. Last time I was in Vegas, I didn't want to leave the place. It's a great atmosphere. It's good times, and you'll like it. I'm talking to the great Vols, number 12, Marcus Nash. Thank you for getting up and hanging out with us this morning and talking about the sheriff. And had some great memories with you guys at Tennessee, man. And what else is going on with you before we wrap up? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, not a whole lot. I'm just following in the great, footsteps of my strength and conditioning coach, who had a wonderful impact on my life. Doing strength and conditioning, combine prep. So I got a couple of guys that put their pro days coming up. Personal training, all that kind of stuff. Doing that out here in Vegas in my own facility at Legends Gym. And so that's basically it, man. And just trying to live this life after football.